the first hard rain after a roof replacement, homeowners were getting debris, nails washing out of their downspouts, and they hate it.
You could have the most beautiful, gorgeous roof in the world with the best possible materials ever,
Right.
and you slightly smunched one bush.
Oh man.
And it's game over for Mrs. Smith.
Well, it's a messy business. A lot can go wrong. Actually, at Avco Roofing, I won the Gas Man Award.
Okay.
Because I hit the most gas lines out of anybody there.
Hey, how's it going? It's Tim Brown, and this is the Hook Better Leads podcast. And today I have Eric Mackintosh from the Catchall.
What's up? How are you?
Doing very good.
Great to be here.
Nail Catch now.
Yes.
Is that a separate company, or is this under?
It's underneath the Catchall. It's a new product from the Catchall.
We're talking about what do homeowners really want when it comes to a roofing project. And I honestly am in this mode more often. I like playing the homeowner for roofers because I think a lot of us just get in our own world and we're thinking like a roofer, which is good in all sorts of ways when it comes to the technical stuff. But when it comes to selling and marketing to homeowners, we got to zoom out and say, what would I want if I was a homeowner?
Right.
So what do you think is a very important thing when it comes, and I want us not to lead with the nails thing because I know that's something you guys help solve, but
yeah.
What else do you think is very important when it comes to what a homeowner wants?
Yeah, so I came up in Avco Roofing. My best friend for 20 years now, Heath Hicks, owns Avco, and he was roofing for a long time before I got into it. And what he knew and what he always preached to us as sales guys and project managers was customer experience wins above everything else. And he would just say, hey, listen, make sure the customer feels cared for and you will be able to feed your family.
Yeah.
Don't worry about all the profitability in every job and stress out about this and this and these details. Just make sure the customer knows that you care about them and that you are taking care of them and their property. And so what we found is we really were pushing the envelope as far as in our market, materials we were using, craftsmanship. We were really going above and beyond as far as using step flashing on every job, which is a lot of work and a lot of expense. We used storm guard on every job. We upgraded the hip and ridge. But what we found over time is homeowners didn't appreciate that because they really didn't understand it. And they just looked at me as like, hey, roofing man, like, yeah, you tell me, that's great, awesome. But then what they knew was if their house is a mess during the process, if they find some nails later, 2 weeks later, they're stressed out. Or even if they find granules washing out of the downspouts, in the first hard rain, they're like, is my roof broken? But if the job site's a mess afterwards, they think that you don't care. And so that's what we really tried to shift our focus from just what's on the roof, because they're not on the roof. They don't understand the craftsmanship.
You could have the most beautiful, gorgeous roof in the world with the best possible materials ever, and you slightly smunched one bush.
Oh man.
And it's game over for Mrs. Smith. She's like, she's frustrated, and you're like, well, the roof's awesome though. And it's like, for some reason that bush mattered to her. And so certainly this isn't a universe like the things we're going to talk about in this podcast. It's not just universally, it's always this one thing. Like customer experience, let's call that number one.
Yeah.
I'm going to say number two, let's just say whatever matters to that individual. It might be a bush.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It might be a flower, it might be something. So those are things that you have to be very, very careful of. And I mean, not to have all these direct you in the direction of Catchall, but like if you're just throwing tarps over a bush, you can burn that bush, right?
Right,
so,
for sure. But speaking to that, the individual, that was maybe the biggest thing that I learned because I'd never been in sales before. My career was in film and TV, and I loved it and enjoyed it, but I really wanted to spend more time with my family. I wanted to get into business. Sales was my path towards that, and then knowing Heath and being friends with him, it was a really great path for me personally. But what I learned, the biggest thing I learned was how to listen to people. And so my mission when I went into somebody's house is I asked a lot of questions and just listened as much as I could possibly listen, because people will tell you and you can get the idea of what's important to them, and then I'll make notes and make sure that I remember their son plays soccer and he's got a big, soccer game. Or something like, hey, I would just ask about, hey, I can see your landscaping,
I just got the shivers. I don't know if that's the Red Bull or the AC or you just saying listening, but I think that's number 3. Let's make that number 3.
I learned how to listen. That was something, that was maybe my biggest lesson the first year of roofing, was just listening to the homeowners, because then that gave me the ability to meet their needs. And everybody's different. Some people don't give a crap about their lawn so much. They just want whatever it is, you know? And
and there's nothing, I would say also some of the things we're going to talk about, it's like, here's what the ideal is. They don't want you to touch a bush. And then really what it comes down to is, can you listen and understand their issues, and then give them reasonable expectations based on it? Because like, I want 0 noise. Well, you're not going to get 0 noise, but here's a reasonable expectation for what's going to happen. Because if you don't tell them before it happens, that's when people get frustrated.
Yes, you have to set expectations, and then bring things up ahead of time, like, hey, you know, how's your dog with noise? Because I see you love your dog. Does your dog need to be boarded, you know, during this time, or do we need to set times where I know there's a clean place in the yard so the dog can come out inside, use the restroom, and I can facilitate and make sure it's safe for the dog during that time, things like that.
Number 4, I'm going to go with clarity around each step. So I think that kind of goes to customer experience, but like, I find in marketing, it's really helpful to kind of tell them these are the 4 main steps of your project, and just give them a simple overview version of what it will feel like and look like, because that decreases anxiety around a project and makes them more likely to want to move forward. Because when you give them 15 steps to the project, and I know that there are really for your company internally, but maybe they aren't touching all 14 of those steps.
And you don't want to overwhelm.
Yeah, if you overwhelm them, people slow down. So if you give them clarity and simplicity, they speed up. And their anxiety goes down. And so if you're if you're presenting 4 steps to a project and your competitor's presenting a lot more, it's going to be easier for you to sell that simplicity, I think, on average. People love simplicity.
Yeah. And I would say that's actually, you touched on another lesson that I learned later in my career. I didn't learn it in my first year. Was my tendency was to sugarcoat a little bit. Like, hey, you know, it's messy, but we're going to take care of you. I learned some people feel like, oh, good, he's going to take care of it. And then when something bad happens, like, hey, you know, you told me you're going to take care of all this stuff. I started warning people a little bit more. I started being a little bit more upfront with them. Like, these are the things that can go wrong. If this happens, we're going to fix it.
Because there's nothing wrong with something going wrong.
Right, exactly.
If you prepped them the right way.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be something that goes wrong, almost.
Right. I used to sugarcoat the most, probably with a schedule. You know, because with crews, you know, bouncing between different jobs and moving this here and going there, and they don't have this many, you know, as many guys today. I was not good in the beginning of my career about setting expectations. I would say, hey, we're going to be here Tuesday. We're going to be done Wednesday evening. When really, I should have said, hey, we're planning to be here Tuesday, pending a million variables. This is our ambition. We're going to be here Tuesday. In a perfect world, we'll be done Wednesday afternoon. It might go Thursday, maybe even Friday. I just want to let you know, things happen, and the crews. We don't always have all the guys we need every day, things like that. But
to me, that's like, if you prep them on that, what we're more likely to get is, I guess, baseline is like somebody who doesn't hate us.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah.
And then second, you're more likely to get reviews and referrals.
Right.
If there's a legitimate. I think even just saying we're less likely to get somebody that hates us,
right,
is probably enough to motivate most people. Like, we don't want customers that hate us.
Right.
We ideally want every customer to give us a review and referrals. And you're kind of always backstopping for that. It's like when you're investing, you have if it goes beneath this, sell. But to me, the backstop in this is like, give them what could go bad enough so that they're not confused if something does. And hopefully something doesn't.
Some people get overly nervous, and you just have to reassure people, hey, we do this every day. Things do happen, but we're going to take care of you.
I would say that is a point. That could be a number. Like basically, it's like reassurance that you're going to take care of them if something goes wrong. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if they've had contractors before, there's quite a good likelihood that they've had something go very wrong. And I guess fear of loss is one of those the most motivating things.
Yeah.
So if you can just let them know that you're going to help them if something does go wrong, and they've had, you know.
Well, it's a messy business. A lot can go wrong. Actually, at Avco Roofing, I won the Gas Man Award.
Okay.
Because I hit the most gas lines out of anybody there. At one point, I had hit 10 gas lines. I don't remember if it was in 1 year, but 10 gas lines. And it's not code. There should never be a gas line within 3 inches of the roof deck.
Yeah.
But that many plumbers, when running their gas lines, had broken code, and then it's covered up in spray foam insulation or just enough back. Because I would inspect every attic beforehand and look for potential issues and things like that, and take notes and take pictures and all this. But
was that Heath that gave you that award?
It was. Yeah, I still have it. It's hanging in my garage.
Classic, amazing. Yeah. Reminds me of Fire Guy on The Office when they call Ryan Fire Guy because he sets the fire.
Oh yeah, right. Started the fire.
Yeah, yes. I like it. So what's something? So I think we're at like 4 or 5. But what else do you think homeowners really, really care about? And I mean, like, let's just kind of zoom out for a second. What else do they care about?
So my philosophy is I wanted to be the friendly expert. That was always my goal.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a smiling face. Hey, I'm here. I want to help you. I know about roofing. I can answer any of your questions. And by the way, if you have a question I don't know, I'm going to find out and get back with you.
Yeah.
So that was how it was my ambition to be the friendly expert.
Yeah.
And so what I found is that people just really trusted me, and they would refer me to their neighbors and friends. And that's how I made my living. After I door knocked really hard for 6 months to get started.
Yeah.
And then after that, I would ask every single homeowner for a review online, and I would ask them. I would say, hey, listen, I feed my family based on referrals. Can you think of anybody who I could help? And then a lot of times they would walk me to their neighbor's house and they'd be like, hey, Bob, you need to meet Eric. He helped me with my roof. He needs to help you with yours. And then Bob's like, okay, you're the man. And I didn't have to sell them once. Then I was always in the mode of friendly expert. I was never in the mode of salesman.
So and people just friendly expert.
I love that. People trust the friendly expert.
That's incredible. And I kind of gets to my point. I mean, I've gotten it from a lot of just really charismatic. You're pretty charismatic.
I'm an introvert.
You're pretty charismatic, but you're a friendly expert, okay? Mm-hmm. And what I tell people that solely door knocking, you're out there door knocking for years and years, I feel like some people are making it harder than they need to make it on themselves. Like if you can start getting more referrals from every deal, then you don't have to door knock so hard. I mean, I certainly think you should door knock around jobs.
So we would do our grade 8, which is the 8 jobs closest.
I believe in that. I'm just saying, like, as far as like making it your only and primary thing, when every single homeowner knows a lot of other homeowners.
Yeah, but to me, the grade 8 is not a door knocking campaign. It's not like hitting 30 doors in a day. You know, it's just, hey, I'm here in the neighborhood. This is a messy job. Please let me know if any trash comes over here. Here's my card.
Yep, and then if you pair that with branding on the job site, I think that
big.
is more and more powerful, right? So I think of all the stuff that we talk about with branding on the job site, like Catchall, and others, the yard sign, the truck, maybe a project manager at the job, as all of those things are enhancing. It's like the billboard. It's the billboard in the neighborhood,
right?
Talk to me about this. I think it's like the 7th item, but where you guys are debuting a product.
Yeah.
At this show, we're at Roofing Process Conference 2023. And what is this product, and what does that solve for the homeowner?
Yeah, so we're really excited about this product. And it is so simple. We can't believe that no one's ever come up with it before. But a big issue that we've run into, even when we use the Catchall landscape protection, because that catches the nails when they come off the roof, but a big issue is cleaning out the gutters and cleaning out the downspouts, because it's just such a messy job, and trash and nails get stuck all over the place. And what we were finding is the first hard rain after a roof replacement, homeowners are getting debris, nails washing out of their downspouts, and they hate it because, you know, sometimes it's in the mulch. They don't like that. Sometimes it's on the driveway, even worse, or a pool deck, or where their dog runs to go to the bathroom, or their kids, you know. And so homeowners are upset. And we would always warn them. I would warn homeowners before leaving every time. And I would say, hey, listen, you know, nails and other trash get stuck in the gutters and downspouts. You know, we blew them out, and we shook out your downspouts, but things just get stuck. And there's really nothing I can do about that. So just expect in the next hard rain, just please look around at the base, you know, of all your splash blocks. And if you see nails, please just pick them up. You know, it's just unfortunately part of the deal. But now we realize we don't have to accept that. And what we figured out is we could just put a filter on the downspout. So when it rains, we now have a filter catch bag. So all those nails, whatever trash,
and the water gets through.
The water goes straight through. We've tested it actually to hurricane levels of, I mean, only so much.
This has to be pretty strong material.
It is very strong.
That's amazing. So
Yeah,
it's catching all the nails. It's catching all the debris.
Even granules.
Yeah. Okay.
Because sometimes homeowners get freaked out in the first hard rain. A lot of granules come off the roof. They think, is my roof screwed up? Like,
and it's hard to like educate every homeowner on every tiny thing.
Right.
Like, so you could say you may have some granules coming through, but to get all of your salespeople to say that every single time,
or to get the homeowner to pay attention, because they might just be like,
exactly.
yeah.
And there's
they're
12
thinking about
important
dinner
things.
Yeah.
To tell them, right?
Right.
So it's like hard to say all these things. So you could say that would be a solution, just educate them on that, but then it still doesn't feel good as a homeowner.
Right.
So
the nail catch is just an easy solution. You zip tie it to the base of every downspout and just say, hey, please leave this in place, you know, until after the first hard rain. And then the zip ties are releasable. Just hit this tab and throw the whole thing away. And so it'll catch all that stuff. And it's just another touch point of care with every homeowner. And so...
And you can market that, right? This is what I like about it, because I always advise all of our roofing clients that use the Catchall to really market it, to push it as the home protection system, maybe even brand it to your company. Right. There's a lot of ways that you can push this. You could also brand this item to your company, the DreamWorks Dream Nail Catcher, or whatever it happens to be, right? You can create little mini brands around these items. And the truth is, for a while, till next year, most of your competitors are not going to be using this nail catcher just yet. So if you're in your market, and you can market these little extra things, because the homeowner doesn't know what's in, like, but they do know they want clean yard, as clean as possible. So you're saying these couple things I'm using to keep your yard as clean as possible. And if you have them and somebody else doesn't, it just starts to feel like you're the customer service company, not the competitor.
Right. It's a little bit like an HVAC contractor who, when he goes in your house, hey, I'm sorry, I've been working outside next to the compressor, my boots are a little dirty, I'm sorry.
The booties.
Yes. Now there's booties. So all those guys put on booties.
I see roofing companies do that too.
Yeah.
It's classy. I'm saying that's a classy move. It makes you look different.
Yes. It's signaling that, hey, we care about you. And we don't want to mess up your property.
And maybe I'm not like so familiar with you that because it's scary having a big roofing sales guy in your house sometimes or whatever, and you put him in booties. That makes you feel gentler too. I kind of like. Absolutely. I mean, I don't think that's a bad idea.
So it's very similar. It's it's a disposable product. It's not a big investment of money. It's easy
you buy them in packs or like as a roofer.
Boxes of 25.
Boxes of 25.
I'm sorry, 15.
15, excuse me, and it's basically it's pretty low cost, and ultimately you market it. It helps you get more jobs potentially as well. And then if you get callbacks, that's expensive, right?
Oh, it's expensive.
So if we're decreasing the amount of callbacks, this is from Heath Hicks, a guy who cares a lot about the profitability of his roofing company, right? Like, and what's not profitable is coming back to do
it's
little
that opportunity cost,
little
man.
stuff.
Because I think if I'm spending an hour, call it 2 hours, now I have to drive over here, spend an hour walking around, 15 minutes consoling the homeowner about the nails. How many people could I have spoken with, and what's the opportunity cost? Did I miss a roof sale? I could have.
Yeah.
that's a big opportunity cost.
I mean, that's
And
I
you're
100%
smoothing
agree.
you're smoothing something over, and, you know, so it's not a good experience for you or the homeowner.
And that's another thing. Do you want your salespeople, your project consultants, always kind of smoothing over little things?
Right.
That decreases the vibe. I mean, that's probably like a very intangible thing, but at the same time, like, if your project consultants are always kind of smoothing over these little things, it does diminish their, not only their time, but their energy to sell.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, there's a finite amount of energy.
Yeah.
And
we got to keep our energy good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think anything like this to make a homeowner feel more taken care of and feel like your next level customer care, everything's going to be easier to sell.
Yeah, and my favorite thing is giving the homeowner something to talk about.
Yeah.
Because when they see their neighbor, you know, they can say, "Hey, how's your roofer? Did he use the nail catch on the downspouts? Did he filter those? Oh no, he didn't. Mine's better."
Can you give me a little like background of the product? Like, did you guys start using this at Avco recently, or how long ago did you start integrating this into what you guys are doing at the roofing company?
So the idea came about 2 years ago, because just always trying to push the envelope of what's possible and customer experience. I mean, that's been the constant goal of Avco Roofing via Heath Hicks and now in the Catchall, is just pushing the envelope for customer experience. And now, you know, through the Catchall, we're sharing it with the industry. We really want to elevate the industry as a whole. We would love for people to see roofers in a very positive light. And so we think the more professional we can be as a whole, the better experience it'll be for everyone. Everybody who needs a roof replaced, every roofing contractor. We just want to be a very well-respected culture, a well-respected group of people. And so we think if we can elevate the customer experience for everybody, then the whole industry will be elevated. And so this is just another extension of that, because, you know, the landscape protection kit from the Catchall catches all that stuff while you're there, but it doesn't catch whatever comes out in 3 weeks during that thunderstorm. So, you know, we originally thought we could put magnets in all the splash blocks and then it'll catch the nails. And then I'm thinking, well, that's kind of expensive. And then you have to go pick them back up. And why don't we just do a filter bag?
Yeah.
You know? And so we were testing them. I first tested the idea, I used mosquito nets on my own downspouts. But that material is actually fairly expensive. We wanted them to be a disposable item. You know, we don't want to create anything that you have to go back and get.
I think that's very smart.
Yeah.
I want to just touch on this idea of letting the customer experience drive forward your roofing company. So this is like a big thing that Jeff Bezos pushes, which is that customer experience. If you let it drive you, and actually he calls negative customer experience, essentially he calls it divine discontent, or he's like, we kind of love it because then we get to fix it for that customer. You know what I mean? If we get the feedback, there's a negative feedback, the more negative feedback you're getting and actually doing something with it, the more you're innovating.
Right.
Right? So thinking about this, the negative customer experience as something to drive you forward.
Right.
And to catch as much of that as possible. Because it's happening. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, that some people are frustrated with nails after a rain coming out of their downspout. And if we're the ones paying attention and actually solving for that, your business is going to be the one that's driven forward by the wind of discontent. I mean, it's kind of a weird thing, but that's his thing on like customer experience, like in those negative experiences, really driving the innovation. I've done a lot about that. Like this, that's kind of my mindset around the customer experience. And then also like, I've thought about an employee experience too. Like if there's negative employee experiences, because I get like, we use something called Office Vibe, not to go off on a complete tangent here, but I get negative experiences from my employees. Like I have that built in too.
Really?
Yeah, and then it's a good product, Office Vibe.
That's cool.
It's sweet. But sometimes I read them and I'm like, oh God, millennials. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, you know, like some like product in the kitchen or something isn't there. But you know what I'm saying? Like ultimately, like at least I'm the one hearing it and can actually like make a decision on whether I'm going to solve for that or not. And ultimately, if I'm head and shoulders above what my competing employer is offering, then I get to keep that employee and, attract new ones. But mainly I wanted to cover that thing about Jeff Bezos' thought about customer experience. I believe.
Well, look what he's done.
Yeah.
Look at the empire he's built on customer experience.
And how much, really, so much of the things that we like about Amazon as customers is because they didn't say, when somebody had a complaint that it was 3 days to the package, he didn't go, 3 days isn't quick enough?
Be reasonable. Yeah.
He said, let's do 2. And then he said, can we do 1?
Right.
What about the same day? And so that's where that drives you. And somebody was going to do it first. Mm-hmm. So he happened to be the one.
Pushing the envelope of possibility.
Yeah. I think that's what Catchall is doing. And now with Nail Catch, I look forward to seeing any new products that you guys come up with. I know it's going to be a year of promoting this one, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And what do you think? I invite you to comment below. What do you think homeowners really want in a roofer? Comment below if you have anything else. I really appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you being on.
Yeah, I appreciate you a lot.
You want to give the website and anything else you want to say?
Catchall.com. You can look at the landscape protection and the nail catch. We also have gutter protection. Catchall.com. We're here to help. We want to elevate the industry as a whole.
Awesome. The podcast is put on by hookagency.com. Hook Agency all over social. Please rate and review the podcast if you're listening. Give it a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. All right, bye.